Yo, what's up guys? An interesting one. We got a developer notice on one new unit. I'm also, why didn't they always do at least two 2As when they had them before? Now it's just one. Well, either I did recently make this video, which was saying we are due a new 2A. Coincidence? I did get a few messages on that video saying as well as like, check the update log. Well, yeah. We do have the developer note on that right now. Might just say like, yeah, say you're 100% Countess employee right now because of what you said on like the new 2As. Well, two small things. Number A, which is, I did not mention the Harpus. And number B, I would have liked to make a video 5 hours ago when this notice got released. So it would have been nice if they informed me if I was an employee. Besides those 2 points, like you can make of them whatever you want. People are gonna believe what people want to believe. I don't buy it. It was just a good educated guess. Looks pretty cool though. It kind of already looks like it has a skin rather than something like that. It kind of looks more like the skin 2As than the ones, but they're gonna do Harpu family. We're gonna look into the Harpu family, what I think about it and where I think they will be used and how that will work. It is also the 3rd unit of Lumen, which does mean that the final one is not going to be opened yet. We still have a 6th dimension, which isn't opened yet, so it's just adding another unit to Lumen. Could be interesting. The first one we do already see is the one with Violent Friends. It was pretty interesting as a skill name in the first place. Violent Friends is just a bunch of things hitting, and it's not necessarily a team up or anything. So it does become a team up right now, and it does have a strip on that second skill. I'm gonna talk about what I think about all of those units in a second when I go through the whole list of the units, or just these 5, because they're just 5. Well, we have that going on, then we have like which elements they are. They nerfed this at some point to such a hard degree that even level 5 with like just a bunch of level 35 units is already clearable. It's like super easy right now, so it doesn't really matter all too much which element is which. Then they also add in support units for Siege. I think that is pretty cool. I did play Siege on a beginner account a few times when I did the beginning series. And the main issue for Siege is you just simply do not have enough units to clear everything. Especially in the lower ranks of Siege, you simply do not have those units. And they're adding in a bunch of good units with very meta units. Like we mostly give them shit for Countess not playing their own game, but they even give Rune? I don't even have Rune. Bro, what the fuck? Right, everyone's gonna have a Rune, probably with a shit tuning, but everyone is gonna have a Rune. If I can put my runes to that, I had a Rune. Like, what the hell? But yeah, these are all very much used units for Siege in the first place. Looks cool, looks cool. I would say just the 4 stars that are relatively easy to get, maybe less interesting, but still it is pretty nice. I'm pretty curious about their stats because we have seen it with the JJK release where they gave the Fire Itadori 92 crit rate, whereas it's a unit that's 100% crit rate, and that was the one that was used in RTA, I think. Or in normal arena, I don't even remember. I think it was normal arena, but either how sometimes I would say for unit wise, these are all pretty meta Siege units. So that is definitely a good one. Big question is going to be, are they having good runes? So that could be a big if, but sure you can only, well, even if you use all of them, at least you can get your contribution in. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. Even if you're like at a super like higher end guild while you're like just few weeks into the game, if you're hitting backline with these kind of things, you should probably be able to clear a few things here and there. So that's definitely nice. Then we have this thing for the speed tuning. It's pretty nice for making videos, but then the big issue is people are just gonna look at this, try to copy things, and then fail. You do not want to know how many times I got the question, I have my Teshar at this speed and my Konami at this speed, but if my Konami boosts my Teshar, he's not gonna move. It's like, yeah, did you only look at the Teshar speed and the Konami speed and you didn't look at the Aprilia speed? Why? Exactly. So that's the question in the last year and a half I've answered the most time. So that's, yeah, I think it's nice in general, but for some things, like I'm still hiding a few things here and there, so I might turn it off, I might turn it on. I'm not 100% sure yet, but just for a simple screenshot of sharing this, if people understand like what they are looking for, then it is not too bad. It's not too bad. You can also kind of check if your tuning is good or bad or something like that, but it's an interesting change. It's an interesting change. But yeah, you can turn that on and off as you like. Next one that is very interesting is that for runecrafts, you're only gonna have 6 stars. Well, might as well remove the blues while you're at it, but hey, it is a start, it's a start. Because currently it was a lot of like Blue's Clues hunting on 5 stars, and 5 stars are legendary and all of that kind of nonsense that you don't need. So, yep, that's there. They do also say this, in addition to the change, we're excited that they are going to get a variety of improvements both to runes and artifacts in the coming update, which is at the end of October, which is actually overlapping with the event, which is the 9th of the 10th anniversary. So curious to see if that would be something related around that. Could maybe be. I'm actually surprised about upgrades to runes and artifacts, because for me personally, I think the one that needs mostly an upgrade right now is grinds and gems. They could, of course, include grinds and gems within those rune sections. I would say artifacts for me is currently totally fine. Like, I farmed a whole bunch of artifacts the last 2 months. I did like a month of SF and a month of PC. Artifact farming is so incredibly chill. You get all of your things instantly plus 15. You know exactly if you want to keep them or not. You can check that by the cell exclusion. It just works super nice. Whereas with runes, you always got to go in, you got to upgrade them, you got to upgrade them, you got to upgrade them. So that's why I'm slightly curious to read runes and artifacts, because for runes, I can think of a bunch of upgrades. Select multiple, upgrade multiple. Make them instantly plus 6. Make them instantly plus 9. Runes related, grindstones, bigger storage. Well, I would say for artifacts, a simply bigger storage would be nice too. So that's the only upgrade I could see to artifacts. So most likely storage upgrade is going to be one of those. But other changes they could do to runes is instantly getting a plus 6 or plus 9, or selecting multiple and then upgrading them all at the same time. But besides that, I'm not too sure what else of upgrades they could do. So I'm curious to see for this one. In the end, like, this is one of the biggest parts of the whole game. If they make the farming runes or the upgrades or anything like that more chill, it's just a lot more chill in general. Then we also have a upgrade to, or a revamp rather said, to the battle training grounds. That does also probably mean that I would highly recommend you to do those right now if you haven't done them yet. Because as far as I know, they're pretty much just going to remove it. And the thing is, yeah, I did. This is exactly what I mentioned a bunch of times. So they do actually listen. Because I've actually mentioned with the battle training ground is that you are always playing on the same seed. And what does that mean? You're always playing on the same exact RNG. And because of that, there's certain times where you're just forced to hit wrong element to get a crit in on wrong element, or to make a misplay, but that misplay is rewarded because you landed a low odd thing. And therefore it's just so weird, and it often misses the original intent of how this feature was done. So this feature is there to make you learn about a certain mechanic or a certain thing. But then if you look up how you should do the rotation, then you have like this weird fire unit hitting a water unit to get a crit in with landing the debuff. And that's how you clear it. It's like, yeah, no, man. It is promoting people to make a luck sack play rather than like understanding the game. And I gave that feedback a bunch of times already over a bunch of years already. I think the first time I mentioned was probably like 2-3 years back. Yeah, I would say 2 years back, but they do listen to it right now, which does mean that change it. It's no longer going to be on like, oh, you have to clear it in X amount of time, but it's rather about you trying to understand the mechanics, which I think is a lot better in general. But since they might redo this whole thing altogether, I would recommend you to look up a guide where you can just do all of them right now, because it might be that the rewards that you get right now you can't get in the future anymore because it completely gets revamped or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure how they will do that, but it's just highly recommended to do those right now. So yeah, pretty short developer note, but of course we're going to look into those Harpus, and let's see where I think this would be useful. So first of all, this one will get a strip, and this one will get a team up for 2 to 3, which once again, why 2 to 3? Why not just 2, or why not just 3? It's always, man, always. No, random. Random. We got to add in something random. Just make them tilt. Just make them tilt. Well, would this be good for something like Necro? Maybe. Just the strip in here doesn't really make too much sense, and I don't really think I would put this towards RTA or Siege. Maybe Siege. They do have the lead skills of defense for their specific attribute, which isn't that interesting of a lead skill in the first place, but could be an interesting unit. Let's open up all of the others. Legit, besides Colleen, I didn't even know any of their names. but I think most people wouldn't. So let's see what we have on this one. Attacks all enemies 3 times with each enemy decrease their attack speeds. Okay. Very simply said, could be some kind of freeze, could be some kind of, well, I think mainly like a freeze, but then we're getting very close into like Tyrone / Ferret scenarios. But yeah, that's the only thing that I could think of for this one. So yeah, I'm not sure if they're just gonna make another Tyrone or another Ferret with this kind of units. They could, but don't really see too much interesting in the water one. Colleen, oh, okay. Colleen is definitely an interesting one. Colleen was already used for Necro before. It is, of course, used for R5, but in R5 it is used in a way where you have to get it low enough HP on the sense where it will always go for the S3. And it's just an attack buffer in like the BG5 team. Would they add something to this? Maybe a cooltime decrease? Maybe perfect AI to this? Those are the main things that I could say. Maybe another buff towards this, like crit buff or speed buff or anything like that. We do have already a bunch of units that do have crit buff, attack buff, Seek. We have a lot of units these days that also have speed buff, attack buff, Roswell, Adriana. So could be something along those lines. But I would like to see this thing get some kind of condition where it will get a perfect AI. So let's say if you're full HP, do something else. And that is the way that there's perfect AI condition on Julie and Clara and a bunch of these other units. I would like to see a perfect AI condition on this skill to have this skill always work and then maybe lower the cooldown by 1. That would be really nice because then it could be used in a lot of dungeons that way. And it could actually improve the Necro team by a lot. So those are nice changes if they would go for that. Let's look at Wind one. Reducing the attack bar by 40%. You could go a lot of ways with that. It's just an attack bar decrease right now. It's a really weak attack bar decrease. You could add like full attack bar to 0 or something like that. Also, the skill 2 is getting stunts. Yeah, you could actually add a lot of stuff to this skill because this skill does absolutely nothing. Oh, and then instead of having violent friends for the light one, we have great friends. Yay! It's a lot of attack bar decrease. It attacks the enemy 6 times randomly. That's a lot of random hits. I'm not too sure about these units for 2As. Like, I wouldn't have chosen these units for 2As if I were to have a choice in 2As. It does have a lot of multi-hits with 6 multi-hits, so once again, the only thing that I can feel all of those units being good to is Necro, but I think there might be one of the units in here that maybe goes 0 to hero and suddenly becomes good somewhere in either Siege or PvE dungeon, but so far all of these units look kind of multi-hit related, and multi-hit related is mostly towards Necro. So it could be a Necro improvement. Necro is also currently the most shitty dungeon to farm, but that is just by the design of Necro, not necessarily that we do not have good units into Necro. And the shitty design by Necro is simply that he instantly steals a unit. You have to clear that unit out, and that animation is super long. Plus, it's very unlikely, unless you have crazy good RNG, to clear the whole Necro boss 2 times within the first turn. So he's gonna have another turn of his animation, which is once again super slow. So yeah, the fastest times you're gonna get on Necros average like 45 to whatever seconds, even on like a fast team. So yeah, that's kind of too bad, but these units might add in a little bit of flavor. I would definitely say that this skill would have potential to instantly clear out the whole Necro shield. That definitely would be an interesting one right there to maybe take over like an Ikaru slot or something like that, because currently we still use Ikaru. Could definitely be in the Ikaru slots for that reason. But yeah, curious to see what they were going to do with those. I'm also curious to see how fast are we going to get these units, because they do mention that they have different upgrades in mind, at least for the runes and the artifacts, on the patch that is coming on the end of October. So we would assume that this patch comes somewhere between the 14th and the 18th of October. And then probably we have that patch where they have the 851 and landing somewhere over here. And I guess that the late October one would also then include that the late October one would have the 9th of the 10th anniversary in there as well. So let's see how that all works out, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but once again, they do not tell me when these things go live. Would be nice, would be nice. Either how. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one, and see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.